Good evening and welcome to the Danko podcast. Don't call it that. I'm your host, Matthew Danko, and today it is Ash Wednesday. Now, of all the podcasts I do, this is probably my favorite, which is why it seems like the only one I do. Originally, I had planned to do several podcasts throughout the week, and each one would have a different theme or so. And I've been really lazy with that. And the only one that seems to stay alive is Ash Wednesday, and that's because I can do that via podcast or a blog, or that's why I kind of call it a blogcast, but please don't call it that because I don't like it, seriously. Anyway, today on Ash Wednesday, I am going to talk about a very, very, very special thing that has never been done. Sort of. At least on the silver screen. And that is the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash movie. Now, last week, in the blog form, I did Ash vs. the Avengers, which was essentially Marvel versus the Army of Darkness, which was a comic book graphic novel type thing where Ash is dead and probably through the Necronomicon gets sent to a parallel universe with Marvel superheroes. So the Avengers is on that planet. And shit starts going down, and they all become zombies, and the Necronomicon has something to do with it. And Ash has to fight these zombies who have superpowers. Now, they're dressed in tights and shit, but they got superpowers. So Ash is kind of, not outnumbered. He certainly is. If a Hulk or Thor zombie comes at you, you're shit out of luck. But Ash somehow manages to survive. I don't know how. I didn't read it. And there's also another comic book I found, Ash Saves Obama, because that happens. So check those out. But the focus of this one is the almighty Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash movie. Now, there isn't a movie and there's not going to be one, but it is in comic book form. And lately I've been getting really into comic books or graphic novels, such as The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke, both bought on Amazon for reasonably priced. But Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, they don't seem to have the original there for a cheap enough price. They do on a website called Comic America, I think, for like $20. But on Amazon, they're like $50 to $100 or so. And then there's the sequel on there that's cheaper, but it finishes the story too. It's called Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, The Nightmare Warriors. Now, supposedly, the events of Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash was a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason the movie. Now, spoilers if you guys haven't seen the movie. But at the very end of the film, Jason and Freddy obviously are fighting because their names are both in the title. They're fighting, and Jason rips off Freddy's arm and pulls out his heart or something, and then Freddy takes Jason's machete and stabs it into him. Appropriately, Freddy's right arm with the claw is ripped off, and Jason is stabbed with his machete. And then there's fire all over the place, and something explodes, like the propane tank or whatever it's called on a camp, because they're at Crystal Lake. They get shot into the water, and you see this ominous figure come into the screen. You see blood, boots, and pants, and you see the machete. Now, again, spoilers, but it's actually Freddy with the machete in his left hand because he doesn't have a right arm. And he's coming at the main characters, getting ready to slice them up, and then Jason gets Freddy's hand, glove, claw, and shoves it through him, and they both fall onto Crystal Lake. Now, in my eyes, in the audience's eyes, and hopefully, definitely confirmed by Ronnie Yu, the director, it ends on a draw. Because, spoilers, there's a little tidbit at the end after all that, where Jason emerges from the water of Crystal Lake, once more, holding Freddy's decapitated head, which I forgot to mention, but Freddy's head gets cut off. Anyway, so he's holding Freddy's head, and in all cheesiness, Freddy turns and winks at the camera, decapitated, and that's how it ends. Now, that says draw to me, because what the director said was, in each of the sequels, although they die, they keep coming back, which means that evil can't defeat evil. So the next obvious step was good versus evil, because in this you have evil versus evil. And the good guy, well, good, bad, he's the guy with the gun. Ash was supposed to go up against these two monsters that have risen due to some mishap with the Necronomicon, of course. And essentially, that was it. I mean, you had Freddy versus Jason, which was awesome. And then you have Ash, the awesome badass, bad Ash, if you will, that just can, the only guy that can defeat these two monsters. Now, I'm pro Ash, obviously. I'm doing Ash Wednesday. But I really like Freddy a lot. I like Freddy more than Jason, but I still do like Jason. Like, I watch Freddy if I want to see a killer with personality, and I watch Jason if I want to see a high body count. That's essentially what it is. And with Freddy, you kind of get like dream sequences that are crazy as hell, which is really cool. Now, I heard some shit online that there might be a future film, a future feature film, if you will, of Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. However, I don't think that's accurate, because Ash is not in the remake. See, the person or people that heard this backed up their argument with the fact that they did a remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, they did a remake of Friday the 13th, and they're doing a remake of The Evil Dead soon. So why not have Freddy versus Jason versus Ash? Well, to my knowledge, Ash isn't in The Evil Dead, the character, or Bruce Campbell. Now, if Bruce Campbell makes a cameo, by God, that would be brilliant. I don't care how cheesy his cameo is. If he's like the old guy at the gas station, I don't care. Do you want some shotgun shells, Sonny? Or do you need some gasoline for your chainsaw? Or some shit line like that? I don't care. That would be fucking sweet. But besides all that, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash probably will never happen. It happened in the comic book form and got its sequel in the comic book form. But as a feature film, it hasn't happened. Now, when I found that, I also found a few links and stuff that led me to a fan film, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Now, it's actually pretty good. I mean, far be it for me to say that it isn't good, but in my opinion, it is really good. It made me feel like I was watching a feature film, even though it's 13 minutes. Which, for the 13 minutes I was watching it, I put Bruce Campbell in that place for Ash, and it was pretty good. There's also this miniature trailer, animated miniature trailer online. I'll send you guys the links for both of those videos for Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. We're using sound bites and whatnot. But it just always seemed like a good idea to pit two villains against each other, Freddy vs. Jason, which got its own film, and then throw in Ash, because everyone loves Ash. He's the cheesy hero that we all love, but not the one we deserve. I'm kidding. I don't know where that came from. The Dark Knight Rises. No, The Dark Knight. Yeah. Sorry. Where was I? Oh. There's also a link I will send you guys to the script for the once talked about Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash film. I think it's split up into 3 acts. It's like the treatment for it. So I'll post that too. But if I ever in my lifetime see or get to work on Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. That would be awesome as hell. Because like I said, I love Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is wonderful. I mean, even with that Christmas sweater and, as she says in Freddy vs. Jason, the butter knives attached to his hand. Like, really. He is scary, and more importantly, like, he can taunt the hell out of you in your dreams. You just have to be asleep for that. Like, that's fucking awesome. Everyone likes Freddy. Well, not everybody, but he is an awesome serial killer. Sure, there were some not so good sequels. I mean, all that aside, there is the original and Wes Craven's New Nightmare that I just love. Like, there's some cheesy sequels and they make him kind of ridiculous. But if you look all past that and shit and watch Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is essentially the 7th film in the franchise, it restores your faith in the character. Because he's the guy that can get you when you're asleep. And he can also actually come into the real world and fuck with you. And he talks. He can taunt you. Jason's big and scary. Now, I don't know who I would be more scared of. I would at least try to talk to Freddy, but Jason is big and brute-like, and he can just pick you up in your sleeping bag and slam you against a tree, which he does a few times in the series. But Ash would be marvelous, wonderful, because it's just, I know it probably wouldn't be Bruce Campbell, which would be sad, but if he was still, if whoever played Ash could get the character right, the cheesy one-liners, and I feel like, personally, that Ash belongs to the Chin. Even though the Chin belongs to Bruce Campbell, the Chin also belongs to Ash. That's like they go hand in hand, even if he only has one. That was a lame joke, but still. So yeah, I will send you guys the links for that fan film, which was actually excellent, and there's a surprise cameo at the end, which is, as slight as it is, it's pretty cool. And there's a bunch of actually short fan films of like Michael Myers versus Jason, and I even saw one where it was like Freddy versus Jason versus, oh wait, sorry, this just reminded me of it. But originally, when they were working on Freddy vs. Jason, the ending was supposed to be like they both, it's still essentially a draw, but they get sucked down into hell, and then these chains come out and wrap around both like their arms and legs, and they get like pulled apart. Not like they both get pulled apart from each other, not them getting pulled apart from like themselves, you know what I mean? But they both get like separated, and then Pinhead from the Hellraiser series comes in and is like, so what's the problem here? Only he does it in that creepy way that I can't do. I don't know, I just thought that was a cool tidbit. But yeah, if you go on YouTube at least, there's a bunch of fan films with all these villains pitted against each other, but the Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash made me feel like that was actually Bruce Campbell up there. But that's just me. So I hope you enjoyed this 15-minute long entertainment piece I did. So yeah, I hope you all are having a great day, a wonderful new year, and until next time. No, I don't have a catchphrase. I'm just saying until next time, because that's when you'll hear again from me next time.